What's up, guys? It's Talon. Today I'm going to be coaching a Vi player who's a Grandmaster P, currently a Master player. I think that a lot of these things that I'm going to show you guys in this video really are the most common mistakes from Master and Grandmaster junglers, and it really is the difference between a Challenger and a Sovereign jungler and a lower elo jungle, so I think it'll be very valuable for you guys to watch this video. As always, I hope you enjoy it. I do coaching for $15 an hour. Just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or to the link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoy this one. The reason that I'm saying once you clear these Krugs that you should walk this way, and again, watch my just watch my stream. I play Vi a lot, so you can watch the clear if you want to see specifically how to clear. But like the reason you want to walk here is because then you can get the vision plant like before queuing. And then if you do that, obviously you can end up spotting the enemy jungle. And then say that you did spot the jungle here because you would see that his blue is taken, then you would know Lilia is matching you. And you would also know you're stronger than Lilia level 4. You're going to hit level 4. She's going to have level 3 because like right when Scuttle spawns, just because of how the clears work, you have a faster clear. And then you can easily contest her with a level advantage. Instead, you don't have vision of her. So even though you would assume Lilia is probably starting blue if you have proper knowledge of how the champion works, you don't know that for sure now. And then we're just also a bit slower, like the way you're doing it. Whereas, again, just watch exactly how I do the clear. And then this is really weird from Lilia. I mean, very, very strange.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
I've
I mean,
never
that's just
seen
unlucky.
that ever.
Like, I don't know what she's doing. It ended up working for her, but if she missed the smite, she would have just died. And hitting the smite doesn't give her that much benefit. So that's just unlucky, but it is what it is. Either way, I would go for a bottom side scuttle now, which is what I'm assuming you're going to do.
Yep, I run straight bottom side scuttle. She tries to contest it too, but she's late. She cleared another camp. Took longer than I did. And then I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, bot lane would be a much easier gank. I mean, I very rarely will gank mid lane unless I just see a free kill, but you also obviously showed yourself. And I think you should have targeted the Nasus there too. Like with your
the Nasus.
Like he was a lot lower.
Yeah.
I mean, I would again like the bigger issue is that you were showing yourself on the map randomly when you didn't really have a teammate to follow up, like to try to gank the auction. So you kind of ended up just wasting a lot of time there. But like that would be the main issue. Again, it's just kind of a random thing. I think you kind of noticed that it was pretty random and weird to go for. And then here again, you're looking too hard for a gank when you should just farm your Gromp and everything first, and then your blue buff. And then here again, really bad efficiency here. And so even though it works, it's significantly, like it's just more risky than we need to do to try to force a kill before clearing our camps. Typically speaking, Vi has like such a straightforward early game because if you just full clear each side of the map twice, you get Trinity. As long as you get like one or two minions from like hovering on a gang, or if you get proper scuttles as well. Like it's very easy to get Trinity Force, and that's all that matters. So you should never feel obligated to find the gank angle. The way that you should decide on where to go is essentially clear your side of the map. Obviously you're gonna, either red side, blue side, full clear, or vice versa, depending on where you start. But then after you've made that first full clear, you're gonna have ultimate if you got scuttle. You're gonna look for a gank if there's something up because your camps aren't gonna be spawning there. So if you look for a possible gank, like even here you looked for auction earlier on in the game and you went for the Nasus, even though, the mistakes there, that's the proper thought process. But then after we go and we clear the next side of the map, so again, you're going to clear your red side then, and then your blue side is going to start spawning. So you're going to go clear your blue side. Then once your blue side is done, you've cleared 4 times, like you've cleared each side twice. You're going to have enough pretty much for Trinity. So the only way that you're going to go for a gank after that is if you see a free gank on, say, Tristan or whatever, but you're not going to force it like you do here, because now you're missing out on gold. Say you do die here, then you're not going to hit Trinity. It's just a lot more risky. Even if you got this kill here and then you die, you're going to respawn at like 430. Then you have to go back, get your blue buff, get your Gromp in order to get Trinity. Otherwise, you're not going to hit Trinity. And basically, if you're not hitting Trinity, you're trolling. So building boots here is also troll. Now, I didn't even look at that part. But building boots means that now you need 37-33 instead of 33-33. And getting 33-33 is, again, the full clear just gets you that. So
then I mess up every game, to be honest with you. I always go Sheen and Boots on first back when I can. Like Sheen and Boots So I should go Sheen and Dagger then.
Yeah, look at your gold right now. How much gold do you have? You have 33, obviously, in a second. And then say you'd waited in base, which you should have, right? We have Trinity. Now all we have is boots. And you're not a champion who needs boots. Your champion has an ult that follows anyone wherever they go in a long-range dash. Like, obviously, and you have movement speed on W. So, like, you really don't need to catch people out. Like, you're going to catch people out with your other abilities. Your movement speed's rather irrelevant to you. So, yeah, it's not a big deal. What you should do, you should build Mercs right after you get Trinity, obviously, because you still want boots eventually. So getting Mercs right after Trinity just makes a lot more sense. Because if you hit Trinity, you're pretty much always stronger than anyone. Like, even we see Lilia is ahead of you by 1,000 gold. You're still pretty much as strong as her if you hit Trinity. Like, you would be relatively close to her strength in the early game and be able to just kill her and fight her. But without Trinity, and she'll shit on you. Obviously, this is a mistake here, but, you know, that's nothing to talk about. Just sometimes we miss smites. It happens.
Yep, unlucky. I mean, like, obviously I know how to smite. I miscalculated my...
You missed by one auto. It's not, like, a big thing.
Yep. That was sort of tilting, though. The team was really pissed. Like, the whole team was, like, super triggered from, like, pretty early on. Yeah. Like, I don't know what was going on, but they were so triggered.
Yeah, I mean, I always mute chat. I don't play with chat. Especially playing jungle is really bad to have chat. But again, I mean, just an efficiency thing. This has happened a few times now. So we look at the situation, right? The main goal is Dragon, okay? Then we lose Dragon, we're really low HP. And now you just kind of sit around doing pretty much nothing when we could be recalling right now. If we're able to recall, then what most likely happens, Lilia is going to be low health after this fight happens. Even she's probably going to win it, but she's going to be low health. She'll recall. If you'd recalled instantly, you go to Herald, you can at least get the Herald. Or at the very least, you can get some camps and then use that camp lead. Where now Lilia is going to want to go to the bot side. And then after you clear your camps, you can go top side and make a play top side because you know she's going to be bot side just because of the objective. So you can do either of those two things. But what you do is you waste enough time where now Lilia is in a position where, say she actually ended up dying here, which also in hindsight, Lilia dying means that you would have like got completely free Herald, right? And you being here didn't even result in an extra kill. So just pretty much regardless, being a lot quicker about recalling after your low health, you've used all your spells. And what really mattered on that side of the map was the dragon. So once that's gone, again, we're wasting a lot of time in a fight where you're pretty useless, and then you end up actually, it looks like, dying here as well. So
I live.
You do live. We'll take it. We'll take it.
No, but you're right. I literally just wasted, like, what, 30, 35 seconds?
Yeah.
And I could have already had Herald, and I probably would have already been on bottom...
your bottom camps, yeah. You could...
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she gets Herald here, too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which then that's going to be the thing, because, I mean, your efficiency, and this is essentially exactly what I see when I'm playing against a master jungler, or a grandmaster jungler. Okay, you do hit the smite, so we'll take it. But like when I'm playing against this type of jungler, the thing that usually ends up happening is there's two scenarios that happen, and my video tomorrow funnily shows the worst scenario for the other jungler. But the two scenarios that happen, one of them is the jungler gets some kills. He's like 2-1 and 2 like you, right? And so maybe I'm either even gold with him or ahead. Like you can see Lilia is 1-1-1, worst scoreline, head 1k gold. This is a scenario I'll find myself in a lot. I'll be ahead a ton of gold, even though they're, you know, getting some kills. And then maybe every once in a while you get like 5 kills early game. But even when you get 5 kills early game and I'm 1 kill, I'm still only maybe down 100 to 500 gold. And then the bad case is when the ganks that you went for example, that gank on Lux topside that barely worked out, that doesn't work out, you die. Now you're down 2 or 3k gold to me at 6 minutes, right? And there's never, in all of these scenarios, you're never ahead of me in gold no matter what, because you're never focusing on efficiency, you're always focusing on the fights. And so pretty much only when the fights work out do you get any benefit. And then when they don't, for example, you have 5 camps up right now. Why do you have 5 camps up and you're going for a kill on this guy? Like, even if it ends up working out, cool. The longer that your camps are all sitting there is essentially gold being lost. It takes 1 minute and 50 seconds for camps to respawn, for small camps, 2 minutes and 30 seconds for big camps, the buffs. And so if you get 150 gold roughly from those camps, that's basically a gold a minute or a gold a second that you're losing. So every single second that you're wasting from those camps not respawning is a gold per second. And then there's 4 camps sitting there, 4 small camps, right? 3 at the moment now. And so that's 3 gold you're bleeding a second. and then you're also bleeding gold from the buffs as well as all. So like basically what I'm saying, every second that these camps aren't cleared is a significant amount. Already wasting say 20 to 40 seconds, that's already 1 to 300 gold, which is the amount you get from a kill. Not to mention kills make you worth more gold, so you don't even want kills as much as you want camps. So even that is, and kills are more dangerous because you don't actually know if it's going to work out the same way that you're pretty much always going to be able to clear your camp. So like all of these reasons, for example, are why you should immediately use the hex gate and go. And I wouldn't be that surprised if you ended up going here. I mean, recalling and then going is fine. I would personally just hex gate, farm all my camps, and then recall. And the reason for that is, again, the longer they're sitting there, the longer they're not going to respawn the next time. And so now, whereas it's really nice when you clear your entire red side and then you get to immediately clear your entire blue side, because it means that all of those camps are going to respawn really close to each other for your next clear. So again, you only have to essentially go back to your jungle one time. Whereas when you do this, you have to go back to your jungle twice, because now your blue side is going to spawn, say, 30 seconds. And again, that's why you should clear Grompier 2 first and then this, because they spawn quicker, in more succession. Again, it's all about keeping these things to spawn at a more similar time. And so it's not overly important to do what I just told you to do in terms of clearing red and immediately clearing blue side, but you do really need to clear one side of the map at a very similar time. It's even the same reason. I don't know why you're starting red buff like you do, like in your initial clear, but it might be because you watch me and I start red buff. Maybe that's not the reason, but the reason that I start red buff over starting Krugs is because red buff takes longer to spawn, which means the second clear, they're going to be spawning closer together. The red's going to spawn closer to the other small camps.
So let me tell you, so I don't always start red. I don't. And this is, it's probably a fundamental flaw on my choice, but I always start opposite of duo. So if duo lane is bot, I start on blue. And if duo lane's up top, I start on red.
Yeah, so what I meant by red, so I understand what you're saying, but what I meant by red is more starting on the buff rather than starting on, say, Krugs when you start on your red side. Changing your pathing, like starting on blue buff or whatever, is fine rather than starting on red buff. But yeah, starting on the buff is fine as well. That's how I do it typically when I'm playing Vi. Depends on the champion. But does that make sense to you, like kind of what I was saying, though?
It does, because I know this dude who plays a lot of Vi, like rank 1 Vi. He's on my friends list. I talk to him sometimes. Yes.
Yeah.
I talk to him sometimes, and he was like, yeah, you can watch some of my games, and I just like would watch his live game, and he would always start blue buff, pretty much almost always starts blue buff. It doesn't matter which side is bot and which side is top. He almost always starts blue buff, and I used to always start Krugs. But then I watched you, so I started doing red first, because it made a lot more sense whenever I started blue, because I would still follow my logic of I want to end up on duo. I want to end up down duo, so I would start blue when it made sense for me, but I'd still start Krugs when it was the opposite way. So then I heard, start red, and I always had more success when I started the blue buff, because the stuff would spawn at the same time. And I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. And then I saw yours, and I started doing it with red. So
yeah, and I actually have a video of me coaching Bartholomew, by the way. If you're ever interested in watching that, like that might be helpful to you as well, like later on.
For sure.
I think it's just titled something like Coaching Rank 1 Vi or whatever, but that's besides this point. Again, the main point, and the thing that Bartholomew does really well is he's very efficient. That's why he's able to play like the one-shot like lethality build, because he's always focused on farm, and he plays extremely selfishly. And like that kind of ends up becoming a flaw at some point, but in terms of climbing, especially to Challenger or Sovereign, usually playing overly selfish is the way to do that. And that's why like I'm so obsessed with all of the efficiency and like the clearing and all of that, because that's really the thing that matters. But for like starting on different sides of the map, it's not proper to always start opposite of dual lane. I understand the thought process is like it's easier to kill a lot of times a squishy champion and all of these things, but what you really should look for, like there's a lot more factors that can go into it. So I'll just pause as I explain them and then we can watch this. But a lot of the factors, for example, one of the reasons it's good to start red side this game is not because of the fact that your dual lane's top side. The reason it's good is because you should have prio in mid lane, most likely. Syndra should be able to at least survive Akshan. I mean, Akshan might get prio because he's a good early game champ, but like Syndra has enough range, she's going to be pretty safe. She'll likely be able to help you at Scuttle if you need. You, like I said earlier, can get level 4. Lilia can only get level 3. Lilia typically starts blue buff. because we just know how that champion works, hopefully. And so we know that if we start red buff, she's going to start blue buff, we're going to match her. We only want to match someone if we have stronger lanes that we're pathing towards, and we're stronger. So again, Vi is stronger early game than Lilia. Caitlyn and Seraphine way stronger than Tristana Lux, like significantly stronger. And then Syndra should still be fine. Should still have Prio, should still be able to help you at the very least. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, do I have stronger laners? Do I win the jungle matchup? And then essentially, when I do win that jungle matchup, when I have the stronger laners, I'm pathing in a way to try to take as much advantage of that as possible through scuttles, through other things like that. Now, say I'm playing Diana and I'm into Lee Sin. I do what I like refer to as like avoidant jungle pathing. My entire early game focus is being away from Lee Sin, because he's gonna screw me over in a 3v3. You know, he's way stronger than me. I'm just always trying to get my farm in that situation. But in this situation, it is proper to path towards his duo lane, but not because they're your duo lane, because they're stronger laners and you have the stronger jungle matchup. So again, you can do that with top side. Like if you have a Renekton into a Kayle, you want to path towards that because he's gonna, you know, make your game really easy to play, right? So it's more about that rather than it being duo lane or anything.
Okay, that makes sense. I actually have a really weird question because Lux did a few things in this game that were like super duper scriptery. I mean, she's not scripting, but I don't understand. There's a few, like right there. I was in that bush. I swept all the way up into there. I know that she had no vision on me. I sit in that bush. There's no vision anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no chance she knows I'm there. And she just stands there and then snares me and
no, your sweep didn't go. Your sweep didn't go here. Look, your sweep stopped.
What did I miss?
It stopped right here. You don't have a sweep right now.
But there's no wards there.
Yeah, most likely not. Like, but either way, this And she just that is like strange unless she had a ward there. Which
like there's no ward. Like we know that there's no ward.
Is that how the vision works here? Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how the vision works. Like it sort of just shows both teams. So like she had no vision there, and then she does it again later down near when we're going to Dragon, I want to say, and it was just like super fishy. And this was such a bad play. Like this whole play right here.
That was odd. Bad. Yeah, that is strange that she knew you were there. Obviously, yeah. I mean, diving under the turret, we don't really need to talk about things like those because those are obvious. But yeah, that is very odd. I don't know how she knew. And like I doubt she's scripting because she's 1, 3, and 4. Like surely if you're scripting,
exactly,
you're gonna do better than that.
Yeah. I don't know. She just did some really weird, fishy stuff in this game that was like, dude, I never had that happen to me, and it was weird.
That is very odd.
Like,
also, for the build thing, it's fine to go Sundered Sky. I don't, but like Sundered Sky's still fine. But you should probably have Mercury Treads after you finish Trinity here because they have like a good amount of AP, and the champs are like relatively like Lilia had a really good early game, so she was quite strong. So I definitely would rush Mercs after Trinity just for like. Generally speaking, I go defensive boots after Trinity. I feel like it's usually a much better spike than trying to rush your entire second item, but because boots are like the most gold efficient thing. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You go Merc Treads most of the time, or do you still itemize steel caps? Like,
I mean, if they're like 4 AD and 1 AP, I might go Trinity, or I might go steel caps. But otherwise, I go Mercs. But the reason is because I played GA second. So like I have armor on my second item always. But if I was playing a build like yours, then I would build steel caps when even there were just more auto attackers or more AD champs that were more of a threat, even if they had 2 AP. So that's just different because of the build I go. But if you're going Sundered Sky, then just basically go whatever's going to deal more damage to you. Go that defensive boot.
That's what I do. I tried your build and your runes.
Yeah.
Is it situational, or like is that you run Aftershock in that exact build almost 100% of the time?
The first 2 items are basically always the same, with the exception of it might go from Mercs to Steel Caps in some games. But yeah, like the GA and all that is pretty much always what I'm gonna go, unless they have like 4 AP or something. Sterix, I'll go unless they. Yeah. What's up?
I don't feel like I do damage. Like
I mean, you have like a lot of AD. You have Trinity damage, which is the same as your build. You have slightly less than Sundered Sky, but you still have 40 AD from GA. Sterix is a significant amount of damage in terms of items, and you're extremely tanky. And yeah, I won't go Sterix if they have anti-shield builders. Then I'll just go like maybe Sundered Sky third or Maw or just a defensive item. But the build is tankier and less focused on like just straight damage. but it still has really good burst damage and allows you to buy a lot of time. It does do a lot better when you're getting like leads consistently. It's a little hard to play the build from behind, but even when you are behind, you can just play the build to stall. But like if you prefer Sundered Sky, it's not a thing where I'm going to tell you need to play my build. Like this build is still a fine one to go and is going to work fine if you play properly. So like I don't have an issue with you building like this either.
I have a lot of success with this build. I've changed my build around. Like I've done that. The Heartsteel build that people fucking build. Like,
yeah, I think that build is not very good, but yeah, I know a lot of people go that.
I don't know how to like that one seems situational, and I don't know how to play around Heartsteel enough. Probably because I don't really play a lot of top lane champions, or solo lane champions, like often. So stacking, like when you snowball on that build, it's great. But like
yeah, but when you snowball any build is great is the thing. And it's like that build. Yeah. That build is only like, it's only a better build if you get to like full build. But like before that, it's pretty useless because your clear speed's slower. You do less damage. You're not really that much tankier because you're not getting a lot of stacks early, and it's very hard to get stacks as a jungler because you're not fighting people consistently. Like junglers consistently do one of the least damage in the game. Even when you're like 10 and 0, you're still not going to have more damage than most of your teammates because you're not consistently fighting people. You're playing PvE for half the game. So like for me, it doesn't really make sense. If you wanted to play a tank build, just go like Warmog second. Honestly, like that would be a better build if someone wanted to play a full tank build. But like for me, yeah, I don't like that build very much.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think like the overall problem I have is efficiency. Then, like,
100%, yeah.
When I start getting on a roll, and like when I win all my games, like I'll go on huge runs. Like I'll win like 9 games in a row, and it tends to be like one like it has a little bit to do with your mental. Like I'm a little older. I'm like 26, so I have an office boring job, and days that I like sort of run down by customer complaints or whatever. Like I tend to just freaking run around the map, and I just run around the map and am useless and get off after 2 games and lose 2 in a row. And then days where I'm in a good mood, have good energy, got a good night's rest, and I'm moving, snapping around. Like I just naturally do that, and it's not something like I'm like I should be efficient. I should go and clear my blue side before I go and gank mid. And I need to mute my chat because I allow too much influence, I guess, from like I just had a game. Lissandra was like spam pinging me to gank Yasuo, right? And I come to gank and she was like, no, I didn't even check. Like I just assumed she has ult up, we're gonna kill him, and she has like no mana. And literally it just gets us both killed. And I just allow that too much. Like it was a poor decision because I hadn't fully cleared. And I went to do it, and then we both died, and now I have 4 whole camps up, because my blue side spawning, I just cleared half a red side. And I just need to, like, like you said, screw my laners, clear my camps, and then look for a gank when I have my ult up.
Yeah, I mean, I have, like, even if I'm just in college, I don't have, like, a job or whatever, I have bad days and days where I'm playing way worse or tilted. Like, that's completely normal. It's more about like bringing your like aggregate skill up more than it's like about being able to play perfect. And if you get off after 2 losses in a row being tilted, that's enough. Like you're not gonna just win every day. That's fine. Again, the thing is, it's all about like essentially treating your teammates as though they're like bots, like they're not real people. Like if you like start to think of like trying to influence their game, and you try to like jungle is the most boring role in the game if you're good at it because it's so linear. It's just you clear your camps. That's the main priority. The only time you're really hard deviating from that is when an objective is spawning or when you see like the most free kill of all time. Like obviously in these scenarios, that's really going to matter. And then also I'm seeing a giant mistake from you here, which is, again, this is where the shift happens too. So I preach really hard about efficiency, but then like at some point there has to be a shift from efficiency to winning the game. And that is the other problem that people have, because I've coached people before and had them come back and tell me, well, now I'm just losing all my games in the late game because their early game was bad, they start to be more efficient, and then that's the new issue that they have. And so this is an issue that you'll eventually have, is your later game macro. But obviously first we have to be able to get into, like this late game, for example, you should probably have 15,000 gold, you have 12,000. And so the same thing would be happening, it'd just be 1 extra item, you'd be stronger. But the problem is you need to understand 18 minutes is where the game ends, realistically 95% of the time. Elder Dragon spawns, that's the fight that matters. So your entire everything is essentially leading up to the Elder Dragon fight. You're trying to get as strong as possible, trying to make sure you at least deny 1 dragon so enemy don't get soul. Maybe if you have, early dragons, you can play for soul. Everything is leading up to that. And so you have 2 items or 3 items rather, and you have your boots. You have 12k gold, which means you're not going to get anything more. You're maybe going to get a component. We don't give a shit. So it doesn't matter anymore that you're farming like this. This no longer matters. And again, this should be 4 items and then it stops mattering, but because you're inefficient, it's 3 items. Either way, once this happens and Baron is up, you have to be super cognizant of the Baron 24/7. Never show yourself on the side lane. Always make sure you have vision of the Baron. Don't do opposite side clears like this unless you know enemy jungle have no tempo. Maybe they've already recalled, like you just saw the Lilia recall. That's when you take the time to clear your blue side. But other than that, you're pretty much hovering red side, playing around this side because that's where the Baron's up. And then that's why a sneak like this ends up happening. So like that's like the main issue that I see a lot of people make, is that they won't be aware of these things. And then something like this happens where the enemy gets the Baron and the game is very difficult from there. So
unfortunately, that was a total tilt mistake. I didn't even know. Like, I literally was not paying attention at that point in the game. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's happened to me too. Like, I get it. It happens.
The game felt over, if that makes sense. Like, I'm sure there was probably at least a couple surrender votes put in there. Yeah. The game felt over and it felt hopeless. So I was like, just totally totally droning. I was totally droning out.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even have any idea that Baron was up, if that even is fair to say.
No, and like that lost to me. Sometimes I'm talking to chat when I'm tilted and stuff like that happens. Like, that's a totally understandable thing. The thing is, it's like, once you've invested 15 minutes into the game, all that needs to happen once like you were down like 4k gold, it wasn't even that much. You steal one Baron and all of a sudden the game is like completely winnable. So it's like the games are so volatile and switch so quickly that obviously it's easier said than done, but having the awareness that the game is still winnable is definitely important as well. But I mean, you know, yeah, I think these are things that you kind of, you know, it's pretty straightforward. You probably understand that. So again, the efficiency thing is the main issue, and then the understanding of shifting the mindset once we have enough gold to playing around the game ending objectives and the things that really matter. And then one smaller thing that I also noticed in that game that I didn't mention yet is like, once you get your camp clearing efficiency proper, the next sort of efficiency thing to really work on is to understand the value of turrets. So like there was a situation, for example, there where a turret was up on bot side, but you're playing more hard to top side, but the top side tier 1 turret is already dead. So like the next kind of objective or farm that you're looking for after the camps is the turrets. So it's kind of like for me, it's like camps are the most important. Playing around winning lanes is the next and most important. When we get to the mid game, then obviously objectives are the most important thing when they're spawning, but then after that, turrets are like a secondary objective to me. So when there's no dragon up, I should be drawn towards the turrets that are easiest to kill most of the time, if that makes sense.
Okay, so let's give a hypothetical then. Let's say Dual Lane is winning super hard, and they're like 3 kills, 4 kills ahead, and they get their tower early. Like, but my bot lane or my solo laner is losing hard. He's like 0-2, and he's like 1,200, 1,500 gold behind. Should I be consistently, because you were just talking about getting towers, so like let's say ours is low, like our solo laner's tower is like a quarter HP, but we've already killed their dual laner's tower. Like, should I be playing for whatever side of the map, not both sides of my map? Should I be playing for, let's say, for example, they're on red
play around,
should I be on my red side and their blue side the entire game for pretty much the rest of the time, playing along with my duo laners, rather than trying to kill my blue buff and my red buff? I'll kill my red buff and their blue buff rather than, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's not about starting to like invade them permanently or something like that, because it's really hard to split the map usually unless you have crazy prio. That's not what you're going to want to be doing. The thing that you typically want to do once a turret has been taken, or in a different scenario where no turrets have been taken, when you're doing your full clear, like again, you do red side, blue side, there's 2 things you can do, and I'll get to the question. I know it's kind of a longer answer to get to the question, but the thing is, once you get, like, say you cleared your red side here, then you cleared your blue side, you have 2 options. You can recall and go back to red side because red side's the ones that's spawning next, or you can just spend extra time on top side until your until your red side's spawning, right? So those are the 2 options. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
And so in a scenario where you want to play around top side, you would use that additional time to stay on the top side. But if you want to play around bot side, you would go back and then you would play around that side. So that's how you're going to play around it. And now, how are you going to decide which to play around? So again, if a turret has already been taken and your team is up 3 or 4 kills, well, then that means that enemy support or ADC, they're probably 0-2, 0-3. How much gold are they worth? Like 150. Like, that doesn't fucking matter, like nobody cares. So, and if your teammates are dumb enough to die there, that's not your fault, and they're still going to be strong enough that it's fine. Like, if your teammate's up 2k gold or 1.5k gold and he dies once, maybe now the gold goes to like 800 gold lead, but you still have a gold lead. And so you can utilize their gold lead to be more efficient yourself, to give yourself a buffer, because you can't rely on your teammate to definitely not int the game. Sometimes your 5-0 teammate's going to int the game. But what you can do is use the fact that he's 5-0 to make sure your gold is strong enough where now you're super ahead, so that you can, again, have that additional buffer and that additional lead. So you would play more to focus really hard on farming and then play around the turrets. But say that your teammate was mega inting, like he was, your solo laner was 0-3. Well, in that scenario, then you're not going to play around him because he's so bad. But say he's just even gold, then you're going to use that additional time to spend that time on his side of the map a lot of the time. But it's all dependent, like if he's adjacent to a Malphite, you're not doing that, right? Because you're never killing the Malphite. So it's all dependent on so many different scenarios. And for example, say that they have a volley bear jungle, well, then you might actually need to protect your teammates from getting dove. So you might want to spend that additional time. Again, say that you are matching, say volley bear started blue, you started red. Well, then you would want to try to stay matched with him as much as you can so that he can't dive your teammates because you have someone who's really ahead. So it's so dependent on so many factors. But like, does that kind of answer your question, or do you have more questions regarding that?
No, it does make sense, and that makes sense. So I don't know if you see what I do here. It's sort of an idea of like where I'm going. I know this is the first clear. But if you see what happens here, like, and then how the game develops, like I would in this scenario like to camp or be more towards my Jhin Thresh, because Tristana's not very strong early. Thresh is strong early, and Jhin provides extra CC. So I figure, I figured that would be a good place to go. I know Tryndamere's super weak early, and Riven's pretty strong early. So I really could choose either way. You have
just winning lanes on both sides. Like it doesn't matter where you play around, and when it doesn't matter where you play around, you should do what's best for you, because you have a luxury of just winning lanes everywhere. I mean, mid lane is, that doesn't matter too much, but like that's pretty even. It's whatever. So why did you specifically do this? Like, did you get information on the jungle's location, or why did you start blue like this? Did you have vision of him or something?
So what happened first was Thresh died, and I saw Master Yi had an assist on the kill.
Okay, so you knew.
I instantly cleared red. And ran to his blue, checked to make sure there was no ward in there, and that's what I decided to take the Gromp on top of it. And then I was getting pinged off by Riven. After, like, here, it'll pop up here in a second. I'll get pinged off by Riven because Tryndamere goes missing. So that's why I, like, charge up my Q to, like, dash past him. But then I realized that he shows back up in the lane, so I figured I could gank him. So, like, you see I'm charging up here because she had pinged me off. I see he's there. I cancel, and I walk down to go gank him. My gank was not perfect. I should have walked up and autoed him and saved my Q.
Yeah. Okay,
rather than queuing first.
So here's the issue, and like, it ends up kind of working, and there's a couple things that I would do differently. However, I don't have an issue with you doing the initial invade that you did. I wouldn't usually do that because to me, there's often a lot of factors and things that can go wrong. But because of the fact that you have a winning lane with Riven and Ace Soul's like fine into Akali, I don't hate you doing it. And again, you check for the vision. That is a fine, rare niche scenario that will sometimes pop up. And if that's how you want to respond to it with farming the blue, that's great. Because what ended up happening is you got 600 gold from it. Because you got, not, actually technically 900. What I mean is, I think about an invade as double gold. It's like you got 150 gold from the camp, roughly, from each of the camps. So you get 300, but you deny 300. It's basically 600. Like, that's how I view it. But then what you did next is what I have a problem with, which is, I'm pretty sure Tryndamere, he has Ghost. I'm pretty sure if he's just not, you know, really bad, like, he should just be able to live here. But then he ends up, I don't think we have, like, complete knowledge of if they have no vision. And then we go for the gank here. Like, the problem with this is now you give Master Yi so much time to come to respond, because we know if someone cleared their red side first, which you had knowledge of, around 1 minute and 10, 120, he's going to be on this side of the map. So we know there's a possibility of him responding. And then I have all these camps up, and now with these camps being so out of sync, it makes my next couple clears really bad when I would rather just focus on clearing all of these and then my top side. And I already got a pretty big advantage from the camps. But when you go for all of this now, again, it's that efficiency thing where this could work out. It's also very likely that it ends up not working out. And if it doesn't work out, then we're like very behind. So in terms of the result, it's obviously very good. And I don't have a problem with the initial thing, but for me, I wouldn't go for the gank. I would be focusing on the farming, because now what it does is it does give Master Yi an opportunity to do something like what he's doing here on your blue buff. And obviously, he ends up doing it like he ends up being dumb, right? Like the way that he did it is stupid. But in a lot of other scenarios, if the enemy do have prio or they're actually properly setting up the invade, then it's going to be very problematic. And we can even see here in terms of the gold, you're only up 200 gold despite being up a kill. And 2 camps on him, by the way. You invaded 2 of his camps.
Yeah, I know.
So, like, that's how little the gold is, right? And we see we're 3-2 in kills, down 500 gold. And so, again, this is the best case scenario for the decisions you made. The decision you made to invade worked out. The decision you made to gank worked out. Everything worked out, and the benefit is a 200 gold lead, which is going to get a bit bigger because you're going to get these camps as well. So it is going to get a bit bigger than that. But you're still... You guys are up a kill and you're not going to be up any gold. And if I'm playing in this scenario and I have a similar thing happen, I'm going to be way more focused on farm, and that's going to every single time work out. And what you're doing, it works out half the time it doesn't. And like that essentially leads to a 50% win rate. And we don't, that's useless, right? It's not going to climb if every play we're making is like very like flippy.
Yep, 100%. I agree. So in your opinion, I should have went. You wouldn't have even gone for that invade, or would you?
I don't have a problem with you doing it. Like, even though I wouldn't, I honestly think like the logic behind it is perfectly fine. I don't think that's a problem. I think you doing that, if you see another scenario like that, you can try it. Make sure you have the prio, like you have winning lanes like Riven or whatever. Even though I wouldn't have gone for that, it seems to actually be the correct play, and it's something that like that's one of my mistakes is sometimes I do become too efficient, and that's an issue too, and that's something people can definitely fall into the trap of. So I don't have a problem with you going for that initial thing. Target priority-wise, you should have gone for Melio first. That's the first thing, because it's way easier of a target to kill. Tristana might be able to ult you off, might be able to W, whatever. But again, I would never go for this gank. I have an entire red side up. What's the point, right? The
you
point
would have recalled right there. You would have recalled right after.
Well, I probably would have just walked to red side, but also recalled red side. Either or it works. And then the problem here, again, what do we get? We end up losing our ultimate, but we get...
Awful.
We get 1 kill, I think. No, we don't even get a kill. Okay.
Didn't even kill. It was terrible. It was awful.
But the point is, like it looks like it's gonna work because you see a really low guy, right? Mechanically speaking, you should have queued Melio, because then once Melio flashes, you can ult onto them, and then you will be able to kill mechanically. But you'll get ganked by Master Yi, and you should be able to know that he's going to be ganking or be on this side of the map, because you started red side, he started red side, your entire red side spawning. So that means his entire red side spawning. And so obviously we would have the knowledge of him being there as well. Again, that's another reason efficiency matters, is because it lets you keep the jungle timer on the enemy. Because if you start red side, he starts red side, and you guys are both clearing completely efficiently, you know when your red's at 14, his red's at roughly 14. And again, my video tomorrow is about tracking enemy jungle, and it's like a game where I completely shit on a Viego through keeping track of his camps properly, and I'm only able to do that because he started same side as me, same as how like that Lilia did last game. And then through that tracking, and I'm playing Vi in the video too, through that tracking, I'm able to get like a ton of small camp leads on him. But the way that I'm getting these camp leads is not from invading at level 2. I'm getting my first invades at 4.5 levels, so then I get a 5 level, I get to level 5 from it, and then I use that one camp advantage to snowball other camp advantages. But like the way you're doing it, again, after you're not taking your one advantage and then starting to farm after, you're taking your advantage and then trying to gank more, so then your camps are constantly up. And so again, it's the main issue is the same thing, which is the good part. It's not like you have 46 things to fix. It's the efficiency thing, but it shows its face in a lot of different ways, whereas like where the nuance comes is sometimes the invade can be proper, but you have to be able to track the enemy jungle properly. You have to take into account a lot of factors. So if you don't have all those things in your mind, then you just shouldn't go for these plays, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I'll be honest, like, yes, you're right. I should know. Oh, Master Yi's red buff spawning. I didn't even, and so that's a flaw too. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't even think he was there. And I should know he's there. Like, looking back on it, like,
too, I have had plenty of times where I also have that same thing where I gank and I think no one's going to be there. Like, it happens to sovereign players all the time. So don't ever think that sovereign players are just never making these mistakes. It's more about just like eventually you make the mistake enough where now it pops into your mind, right? Where you're like actually thinking about that before you go for the play, and then you won't make that mistake the next time. But the problem is if you don't think about the fact like why it went wrong afterwards, then you don't learn from it. But everyone's going to sometimes just have like a a lapse and make that mistake. That's perfectly normal.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, then I looked for a gank mid, didn't work because of the ward. I went and cleared my whole blue side because I do have that like what you were saying in your video about like clearing efficiency is important. Like I do think about that, but like I guess I don't prioritize it as much as I probably should be. Look, I got Triforce on this one.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about this. It's still problematic, even though it ended up kind of working. Is because let's look at our gold after we clear this, right? 33, 33 is what we're going to hit again. Means we could have Trinity. Boots, so what? Again, we've explained why it doesn't really do anything. So what ends up happening, you have to clear everything to get this. And then what does that mean?
And I'm late.
You're late.
And then I'm late.
Exactly. And so that's even the issue here. It's nice that you ended up reaching it, but it didn't matter because now we don't have control over it. And so that's the nice thing too, is if you're doing the 4 camp or the clear each side twice, you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to get Trinity at like 4:30. And if you ever get 1 kill, it's like really easy to get 4-minute Trinity. But the way you're doing it is like you're getting like a late, maybe at 5 minutes you hit it, and then you're still late and everything. It makes you end up just getting snowballed on like this. And again, this is my favorite. I love this so much when this happens in my games. Like I've had it happen so many times just because of these similar scenarios, and even in other roles where I'll look at the scoreboard, the kills are very close, and I'm up like 4k gold. Like you guys are 1 kill down and you're down 4k gold. Yep. And this is mostly due to the decision making we've made. You've had, again, this is another game. You've showed me 2 games where the perfect scenario happens for you, where pretty much everything you wanted to happen happens. You get your ganks to work, you get kills, you get invades, everything's going right, and you're down gold both times to the enemy jungler with a worse scoreline both times. So like that is the main thing to focus on. I reiterate it a lot because that's all that really matters, because you can't really do you want me to edit out that text, or does that not matter to you?
What? Oh, did I get a text?
A text showed up and just said like something about what day you're gonna come to NYC or something. I don't know. Do you want me to edit that out?
No, that's fine. You can leave it in.
Okay, I'm just making sure because then I would have to make a note of it. But yeah, either way, I mean the efficiency thing, that's the main thing. And then once that problem gets solved, because it's not that hard of a problem to solve as long as it really stays in your mind, you'll start to have a lot better consistent gold in your early games. And then once that happens, you'll start to have these other issues pop up, like the time where you were on the wrong side of the map when the Baron was spawning. Like that's going to be a more common mistake that will probably occur. Other things like that will lead to throws. And then that's going to be the next problem you're going to have to solve. And it's hard to find those exact problems before they show up, because again, like you're not even getting into the situations enough to make those mistakes, basically. So, but yeah,
I mean that makes sense.
Thing is the main.
Should I, all right, say for example, all my red buff camps are spawn, like how I just did it. I don't know if you just saw how I cleared. They were all 3 up. I went buff, golems, raptors.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's the order. Like I figured that would be the smartest, like just based on, I'll be honest, like I played this game since PC, but I never was really good. And I wouldn't even say I'm that good, but at least I can get almost a challenger. Like on PC,
that's better than most for sure.
Yeah. Like on PC, like I was just a much more casual player. I played a lot of ARAM and normals and stuff. So I never really like worried about anything like that. Like the best way to like clear stuff, do stuff. Like I do have these thought processes, but I need to like take it seriously and go. Yeah. What's gonna help me the most?
I mean, the issue with a lot of the Master and Grandmaster players, especially the ones who played PC and everything, it's less about knowledge and it's more about like actually putting active thought into things. Like you have to, like I'm going to write out notes for you after we do this, and then it'll mostly be focused on the efficiency things. And what you should do, you should highlight, say 2 to 3 of these things at a time that you go into before every session of playing, depending on what is currently what you want to work on. The efficiency thing again would be the main thing, and then some of the smaller things can be worked on afterwards. But then those should be the things in your mind that matter to you when the game, like during the game. So say that you have a game that you guys lose 27 to 2, all your laners suck, you lose super hard. You shouldn't be focused on whether or not that happened. You should be focused on, did I actually farm properly this game? Was I efficient this game? That's what matters, because that's going to win you more games in the long run. And so it's more about like having those questions actually actively in your mind, and then eventually when you've worked on them enough, they become habitual, and then you're able to go on the next thing. Like that's how I always approached improving. And now a lot of things I'm streaming and talking to chat, and in the middle of talking to chat, I'm just doing these things naturally because it's just in my mind because I've like done it so much. And so it doesn't always have to permanently be an active thought, but you have to make an active thought until it becomes habitual, basically. And that's how I approach like all of these small like improvements, basically.
Okay, I mean that's pretty dang straightforward. I think once I improve that, like you said, that'll make a huge difference in my consistency of winning. You know, like rather than having a 52% win rate, I should be able to bring that number up significantly just based on I'm going to have more gold more consistently. My item path, I'm going to change that. I'm going to make sure no more boots.
Yeah.
Always, I'm probably going to end up going Sheen Phage just because I do like having a little extra movement speed. It lets me stick on people. Rather than like going Sheen Dagger or something like that.
Yeah, Sheen
'Cause
Phage
you know,
is the correct way to do it anyway. Yeah.
is it? Okay. So Sheen Phage and then
The Stinger, yeah.
Stinger. Well, hopefully you don't have to back and buy Stinger by
Yeah,
itself.
you usually don't. That's true. You're usually just getting Trinity. And I mean, as well, like Vi is the champion I've played a ton this season, so you can always go and like watch just how I'm playing to try to see, or you know, am I playing like this, and watch it and pause it and think, what would I do in this scenario? Then watch what I do versus what you would have done, and these types of things. They also help you sometimes understand that, especially once you feel like you've actually improved these things. Start to, you know, see if you really have, and if that starts to be in your mind and whatever.
Okay, no, that's fair, and that's a good resource. It's nice that you. What do you mostly play? I know you Q Phil, but do you play jungle most often, or?
No, I just Q Phil, so I'd get pretty. I think I've played 200, maybe 20 games this season, and I'd say I think I have 40 or 50 Vi games. So I mean, it's like a fourth or a fifth of Vi, and then.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's pretty.
Do you
It's
almost
pretty
always
spread
pick
apart.
Vi when you get jungle? Is that like
This season
I've
played 3 Camille jungle games, and every other game is. Or I got paid money to play Lilia once. Someone donated for me to play Lilia. Apart from that, I've only played Vi. So yeah, it's pretty much just Vi right now. I mean, I think Vi is the best jungler in the game, so that's why I play her so much.
She is super strong, and I played Vi since PC days, so
Yeah.
I would say like I tend to be pretty mechanically good at Vi, just because I have tons of games on her. But when I'm behind, because I'm not efficient, I just end up getting myself tilted and throwing and going in because I'm so far behind.
I think the biggest thing with your mechanics is something like this right now, and it's something that happened on the Melio gank, and I'm pretty sure I remember other scenarios. Your mechanics are fine on the champ, you play it properly. The issue is your use of your mobility, which is something I've had with other Vi players I've coached. They don't properly utilize like the spell area. Like for example here, you can just run at him and ult. Like you'll eventually get Q up and then you'll just Q ult, but you use your flash when you have no need to be able to flash it. Like here, that's like the way you utilize your mobility. Like sometimes you're queuing onto the wrong person then ulting, or you're not ulting first and then queuing after, when for example you would want to ult and then queue with Tristana a lot of the time because you want to try to cancel her thing, or you want to like instant Q flash onto them, or like these types of things. So I think like a lot of times you're not properly waiting to use your mobility before, or like for after they use their mobility, because when you use your Q and your ult and your flash and everything to get on top of them, they use one dash and they're all of a sudden away.
Gotcha. Okay, so in this scenario, like right there, I should have just
queued
walked
and
at
then
him.
ulted. Yeah.
I don't know if my Q is up or not.
Yeah, you walk at him until your Q comes off cooldown, because it's a pretty low cooldown.
Under
like
tower.
It definitely would have. Yeah.
I think that's what my thought. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting work text. It's fine. You can include all the work text. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Again,
this is just a recall.
I guess I was. Yeah. Like we really wanted Baron, and like because we were behind, and we know I know we're behind. I know we're so far behind. I'm looking at Master Yi's gold actively, and I'm like, dude, how the heck am I like so far behind in gold to Master Yi?
Yeah. It is pretty crazy. You guys are down 5.5k gold and 2 kills. It's always funny. I mean, that's my favorite thing to see when I'm on the team with the gold lead. And then again, it's the same thing with the farming, though. You can see the same exact issue actually twice in a row as well with the macro. So that's probably an issue that's going to continue to reoccur, and you just need to be more. What the? That was so weird. That's how it works on the replay. Oh, that's strange. But either way, again, you're farming on the wrong side of the map, and obviously you end up being able to get here. But like, this is again just a more risky thing where we don't need to farm the opposite side of where the Baron is spawning. Once it's up, a lot of the times we need to like spend as little time as possible there and really farm that side of the map when we have like the actual tempo lead. Whereas you just recalled and we're low health and the enemy were higher health, they have control over the Baron pit. That's a scenario where we need to be very wary of that. And then say you just won a fight, but you only won the fight like slightly, like maybe you killed one person, but the enemy all backed off, they were low. That's when you use that time to clear your blue side, because now you have the time where you don't have to worry about anything. But if you have no knowledge of it, then you just have to be very wary of the Baron, or at least go around and sweep it, or ping your team to ward it, these types of things. But yeah.
100%. And then I waste time down here, even though there's...
I mean, I don't really hate this that much. Like, again, this is the point of the game where I'm more okay with hovering, like, waves, and the way you play this is fine. And playing around waves and getting gold from waves is a good way to increase efficiency too. I don't know why you wouldn't clear your red buff here first, but I mean, it looks like you.
I end up hovering around this just in case, and then I change my mind and go clear my red buff.
Yeah,
you're right.
Like, I would have
recalled
all of this either. It's not that bad, but because also this dragon doesn't matter because we each have a dragon, so this one is not actually important.
Absolutely.
Like this is a time where I would try to ping my team and try to sneak like Baron, but I probably wouldn't expect it to actually be a complete sneak. I would expect it to be something where I'm baiting a fight where we can have vision, because now we're stuck walking into them, and we're down gold, so we expect the fight to most likely be a loss anyway. And again,
I messed up so hard.
Yeah, because again, the dragon doesn't matter, and you were very focused on getting the dragon's fight when your focus should be winning this fight, because winning this fight would get you the Baron. And so it looks like the fight actually would work out if we do just focus on the fight itself. So that's kind of the main thing. And the target priority could have probably been onto Amelia or Tristana, for example, instead of just going
100%. I accidentally just hit or like tapped ult more or less to get the dragon, like you were saying. Like I was hoping to go in and smite steal, and like now I'm playing less than a 50-50 chance. When in reality, if I just walked up, found Tristana in there, and targeted my ult on her, we probably would have won the fight, lost the dragon, killed everybody,
and
gotten Baron, and But instead, I wasted my ult on Trinamir because it auto-targeted. I just wanted to get closer to be able to smite.
I get that was the main focus. It makes sense, for sure. But that's, again, probably part of the active thought thing that just doesn't happen, is like, you know that dragon doesn't matter if we each have one dragon. But it's just, again, these are the types of things that often don't actually go into people's mind, because maybe you have had a long day at work, or maybe you're just tired, or you tilted, or whatever, and then now you're just thinking, I want to go fight someone. Game's already probably a loss, we're down 6k gold, who cares? And then that's what ends up happening.
Yep, and that was the game right there. So I was instead of going back in to try peeling a collie off of Riven, like we shouldn't have been chasing.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have, like, me dashing in there probably wasn't going to save her anyway, and instead it got me killed on top of it. But me living there, I don't think would have changed the game.
I don't think that part really is what I'm that focused on. Like, it obviously wasn't ideal, but that's not really the part I care about, because it's more desperation at this point, and doesn't really, like, again, playing desperately once the game is like this, that's what has to happen, because it's pretty much a loss anyway, and then assuming we just lose, so I'm just skipping through, but...
Oh, yeah, that's the end of the game. Obviously, those games were like 5-6 days apart, or 3-4 days apart, I want to say, because I got that game actually from today. I got that from earlier today. And the other one, obviously, whenever I sent it to you. So making those mistakes are definitely something consistent. But like all day yesterday, all I did was win. Like I literally won. I think I might have lost one game or something, and I won like 6 or something like that last night.
What rank are you right now?
And I was playing with. I'm sorry.
What rank are you right now?
What rank 5 or what? Oh, I'm master, like 9 marks or something, 10 marks.
Gotcha. Challenger is definitely very doable then, like this season with that start.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I always get to like, I think I get to like 50. I'm maxed out at 54 marks, and I get to 50, and then I guess I play tilted or I play tired, or like I've gone from 50, let's call it 52 marks, and all the way down to like 38. Like I've done that 2 seasons in a row. Like
I mean, the season that I got rank 5, I was 108 marks, and then I went down to like 92 marks. Like loss streaks happen to everyone. Like that's gonna happen. I had a 9-game loss streak this season already. Those things are normal. The problem is when people get really close to something that they really want, they put a lot of focus on the rank, and then these types of things happen where you get a lot more tilted. It compounds. Whereas if you don't care about it, like I no longer care about hitting Challenger or Sovereign because I've done it enough. So like when I am really close to Chal, like I'm 58 marks right now, and I was 56 marks and then kept losing over and over again. It didn't matter to me because I didn't specifically care about getting Challenger. The same thing is true. One of my goals one season was to get top 10 before I'd ever hit it before. And that season was like super unfun because I would get tilted every time I would lose a game or have a loss streak because I was super focused on that. And then the season after, I didn't really give a shit. I was like, I'll get Sovereign because I might as well as I stream, but I don't actually care about my rank. And I got rank 5. Like the whole thing is if you're focused on the rank or getting that new goal and being like results oriented, it's hard to not be. Sometimes I get annoyed when I lose too, or I'm sure my goal is rank 1 this season. If I'm really close to rank 1 and I start losing, I'm going to be tilted because it's normal. You know, you can't control that. But as much as it's possible, you should really try to focus on, again, find these specific things that we'll write down. Really focus on the fact that are you doing good at that? If you're playing really good in your games, you should be more content with that than the fact that maybe you did have a loss streak. Because if you consistently play that way, then you're going to eventually climb. But if you have a really good day, but you end up losing even though you played really well, and then that tilt carries over into a day where you got decent team luck, but your tilt made you play worse, well, then you had 2 days in a row that were losses, whereas if your mindset was different, you'd have 1 day of losses, 1 day of wins, and it's just like, you know what I mean? And if you're 54 marks, that's literally 3 more net wins. Like 3 losses turning into wins is enough to get 60. So, I mean, it's like a very small margin as well.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with your logic on it. Like last season, I did not have fun. I'll be honest. Like I did not have fun because I wanted to get Challenger. I wanted Challenger so bad last season, and I got to like 53 marks or something. And I was like, I was so pissed. I was like, all the time, I didn't really want to play. I just wanted to get Challenger. You know what I mean? Like I just like I'm exhausted of playing.
I mean,
the game.
I was one game away from Challenger the first time that I ever hit it. Like there was a season before I'd ever hit it. I was 1 game away and I lost 13 games. Like I lost 13 times when I was 1 game away, and I never got it the entire season. And like that was extremely frustrating. So like I understand that feeling for sure. But I got it the next season at least, so we'll take it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just gonna focus on all these things that you like. I'm gonna go into a game. I'm gonna be like, just be efficient with all my clears, gank where possible. Don't worry about them. I'm gonna mute my chat. I think that will help me.
Yeah, just turn on party chat. That's very helpful. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do that. Turn on party chat, and that alone like should help me because like I allow my leaners to like spam ping me and talk in the chat about how bad you are because you're clearing camps. You know what I mean? Like you'll be clearing camps. They'll be like, you're so bad for clearing camps.
Yeah, they don't understand jungle. It's just it is what it is. They probably don't play the role, so like they don't really get it. It's fine.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
all right. So I can write down the specific things if you want, or if you feel like you don't need them, then we don't need to write it down. It's up to you. But
yeah, if you want to write them down just to give me a reminder if I'm like struggling one day or something, like I can look back and then I can maybe watch a replay and see if I did those things or even, self-reflect on them.
Yeah.
That would be helpful. And then I'll follow up with you. I'll probably do another hour or something in like a couple weeks and, try implementing these things and then get some new gameplay for you. And we'll go through it again.
Do you want me to write them down while we're on call, or you want me to just write it and send it to you like after?
You're good. You can do it after the call.
Okay, sounds good then. If you don't have any other questions, then I'll see you later.
Yeah, man, I'll see you later. I really appreciate it.
Yep. All right, guys, so then for the video, we'll just write down the notes. Since normally I do it in the call, but we'll just do it out of the call this time. So typically, again, the main things were efficiency that we focused on for him, so I'm just going to write that as the general note and then go into some more specifics. So if you see a possible gank opportunity, really only go for it after clearing that side of the map, unless it's completely free. Basically, again, this is the main thing that we just spoke about him with. If it's just completely free gank, sure, he can go for it. Otherwise, might as well clear the camps first and then focus on the efficiency always just make sure camps trying to think of some ways to word these things, because again, the things we spoke about specifically, sometimes it's hard to remember exactly. One thing is make sure to not waste all of your mobility right away. Fade out enemy dashes before ulting, etc. These types of things, again, with the Vi, he would sometimes use all of his abilities, Q, alt, all these things together when he should just be a bit more patient with them. For the farming, start on buff, or how are we trying to say it? Make sure to clear entire side of the map, entire side of the map in succession, so they spawn at a similar time. This is again one of the main things I see a lot of people do wrong. They won't clear their entire side of the map together. They'll clear part of it, go for a gank, do other things like that. Just mute chat. We might as well throw that reminder in for him. What other things do we talk about? The general just efficiency thing is important. Play around strong side of the map. Once they take tower, shift focus. 7. What else was it? For pathing, take into account which laners are stronger, enemy jungle matchup, etc., and path towards most beneficial side. Again, a lot of the things with him are efficiency that we speak about, so it's a lot of specific, like similar kind of mistakes. So efficiency, if you see a possible gank opportunity, go for it. Make sure to not waste all your mobility right away. Make sure to clear a side of the map in succession. Muting chat, playing strong side of the map, pathing. These are the main things that I think I spoke with him about. A lot of the efficiency things are really like kind of similar. I guess there was also the mistake of keep track of enemy jungle pathing. If they started opposite of you, then don't gank a lane on a side where don't gank a lane if you have camps spawning on the other side of the map, because enemy jungle will on side you are ganking. These types of things just generally, I think as well, focus on actively asking yourself questions during game. Stay focused. Again, yeah, these are probably the main things that we spoke about. So I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think this was pretty valuable coaching, so I'm happy with that, but I'll see you guys later.